President Kenyatta jets back into the country this week from the two-day G7 summit in Canada. But just what are Kenya's gains from the summit, and how are the G7 member states likely to fit into key development pillars of Kenyatta's legacy term? Muremi Mwangi interrogates on this week's edition of House of Cards.
For the second consecutive year, President Uhuru Kenyatta was on the list of invited African leaders to the just concluded G7 summit, this time happening in Quebec, Canada.
Clearly, a demonstration of the recognition of his leadership, not just as the President of Kenya, but as an African leader that is a carrier of the African agenda.
Kenyatta returns to the country only a few days to the June 14th release of this year's 2 trillion shillings budget, whose expenditure has been largely anchored on manufacturing, housing, universal healthcare, and food security. But just what interventions could Kenyatta have sought from G7 states to actualize his 4 legacy pillars?
All these 7 countries have great interest and have a footprint in Kenya. But we are saying, how can we begin to persuade them to align those interests to the big 4 so that we can accelerate the agenda of the president as he has visualized it?
We must now start looking for technology transfer, trade, more than anything else, more than aid, and more importantly, how the discussions in Canada would inform manufacturing more than anything.
He should actually be thinking about how he needs to, he can put his house in order, that is Kenya, so that we can have innovation leaders, okay, to go in and help him in thinking about what he needs to really attract from outside. Kenya has quite a number of innovative, thinkers.
If we can begin with the 7 most industrialized countries agreeing that the thing to do is to build the industries and the manufacturing plants right here so that we can begin to transfer technology, we can offer job opportunities to our young people.
G7 comprises 7 of the world's most industrialized democracies, namely Canada, the United States, Germany, France, Italy, Japan, and the United Kingdom. Under his manufacturing pillar, a key investment area for most G7 states, Kenyatta had promised Kenyans 1.3 million new jobs by 2022. An ambitious project which could see key industrial giants from among other countries, the G7 states, also pitch tent in the country. But the manufacturing sector continues to face a myriad of challenges, among them the perennial sting of graft, with the Kenya Private Sector Alliance recently lamenting to President Kenyatta over the estimated yearly losses of up to 100 billion shillings through counterfeits and illegally imported illicit goods.
One of the things that have been agreed is that every week, and I think a day like Thursday has been agreed, is there will be regular updates on what has been captured, how it's been destroyed, and what action is going to be taken.
But with the graft monster recently rearing back its ugly head and threatening to make a mockery out of Kenyatta's legacy term, 18 foreign envoys, including some from G7 states, recently demanded for prosecution of all culprits, irrespective of their party affiliation, social status, or personal connection.
Because he might do all these nice things, big agenda 4, youth, housing, health. But with this sort of corruption, then who is going to be interested about Agenda 4? The big 4 must be accompanied by transparency and accountability.
If we are committed to eradicate corruption in this country at every level, every single level, starting with myself as Attorney General, and I will lead it, and so will you, CS Trade.
And on our part, I have told these agencies, where there is going to be any political interference, I want the details of those, and we will give them to the president. And I'm sure the president will deal with those people.
Key themes for this year's G7 summit were building a more peaceful and secure world, investing in growth that works for all, preparing for jobs of the future, advancing gender equality and climate change. The summit also provided a chance for Kenya to share lessons from its counter-terrorism war in Somalia and the success of recent ban on use of plastic bags. Muremi Mwangi, KTN News.